I ultimately made my ex's boyfriend face felony charges. And it all started with a collection of what he thought were just children's toys. My ex-wife, Jenna, and I divorced 3 years ago. We share 50-50 custody of our 13-year-old son, Leo, who's a great kid whose interests have been shifting, as you'd expect from a teenager. At one point, he was heavily into Legos, and I loved building them with him. Even after he outgrew them, I continued to collect the sets, leaving them sealed in their boxes as a long-term investment. These weren't just for me. My plan was always to use their appreciating value to help pay for Leo's college education or a down payment on his own home someday. After our divorce, Jenna started dating a guy named Kevin. From what I gathered, Kevin was also a big Lego fan. But he had one very bizarre habit: he used super glue on his sets so they could never be broken apart. It struck me as odd, completely defeating the purpose of the toy, but to each his own. The lawsuit that followed had nothing to do with my history with Jenna, but everything to do with Kevin's actions. The whole disaster unfolded last week. I was out of town for a few days for a medical issue when my son, Leo, called. He wanted to stop by my house to grab his PS4 to take to his mom's place. This was perfectly normal. He has a key and knows he's always welcome. I was watching the entry camera feed on my phone and told him to have fun when I saw him arrive. But then my heart sank. Trailing right behind him was Kevin, Jenna's boyfriend. This was a huge no-no. "Kevin, you need to wait on the porch," I said through the camera speaker. "You are not to go inside." He flinched, clearly hearing me, but then he just smirked and walked right in anyway. Kevin made a fateful decision at that moment, completely unaware that this single act of defiance would lead to his own downfall. I immediately sent Jenna a fiery text. "Get him on the phone now. He has 1 minute to get out of my house before I call the cops." A few moments later, he walked out carrying a bag, which I assumed held Leo's console and games. Later that evening, my son sent me a troubling text. He said he hadn't realized it at the time, but he was pretty sure Kevin had taken some of my collectible Lego sets from the shelf. As soon as I got home, I went straight to my collection to check. My stomach turned to ice. He was right. Several sets were gone, including 2 extremely rare ones worth a significant amount of money. I called Jenna immediately. She was clueless, but Kevin eventually admitted it. His excuse was that he took them so Leo could have the sets to complete his collection. This reveals Kevin's greatest fatal flaw, his utter disregard for others' property, masked by a flimsy excuse of generosity, which ultimately sealed his fate. The lie was infuriating. My son doesn't even play with Legos anymore and flatly told his mom he would never steal from me. Jenna asked what it would cost to replace them. I did the math, and the total was devastating. It was more than all their savings combined. It would completely wipe out the down payment they were saving for a new house and then some. The value of the stolen sets was high enough to qualify as a felony. I gave them an ultimatum: pay me back in full within 2 weeks, or I was pressing charges and suing them. When I finally got the sets back, the situation was even worse. Kevin had opened all of them, destroying more than half their value instantly. The stolen items included the King's Castle, the milk truck, a Legoland train, and the carousel. And true to form, he had already assembled and glued the Star Wars snowspeeder, rendering it worthless as a collectible. Many of these were part of larger sets, so losing one piece devalued the entire collection. As word got out, people started calling me a joke for making a big deal over just toys. But as one person online pointed out, if you replace the word Legos with jewelry, everyone would call it a felony, which is exactly what it was. He didn't just take toys. He robbed my son of a future opportunity. I knew then there was no other option. I called the state police, went to their facility, and gave a full statement. I filed the report and have already spoken to a lawyer to move forward with the lawsuit. That evening, I picked Leo up. I sent him into a GameStop for a few minutes while I called Jenna. I told her I had officially filed charges. I also told her that I asked the police to call me before issuing a warrant, so I could give Kevin the chance to turn himself in, a courtesy he never extended to me. When we got home, I sat down with Leo and explained everything I did and why. His response removed any lingering doubt I had. He told me I did the right thing. He said he didn't want his stepdad to think it was okay to do something like that again. At the end of the day, the logic is simple: Kevin shouldn't have entered my house, and he shouldn't have stolen my property. He broke the law, and now he has to face the consequences of his actions. This was never just about money or plastic bricks. It was about respect, boundaries, and securing my son's future. The thief's actions threatened that, and I had to respond accordingly. When an object has both immense sentimental and monetary value, where do you draw the line between forgiveness and demanding justice? Let me know your thoughts below.